Victoria waited by baggage carousel number 3, watching an endless loop of identical black suitcases go by, each one blending into the next, much like she had learned to blend into life. At 54, she'd mastered invisibility. Her beige blazer, red dress, and neat auburn hair were polished, professional, and forgettable, just the way she preferred it. When a familiar-looking suitcase rolled past, she grabbed it without thinking. She had 45 minutes to reach her sister's house for dinner, and she didn't plan on being late. But halfway home, a flash of gold lettering on a leather tag caught her eye. Her suitcase didn't have a tag. Heart sinking, she pulled over and read the name, Gabriel Thornton. A quick peek inside confirmed the mistake: a pressed shirt still in dry cleaning plastic, an expensive laptop, and a small black box she didn't dare open. At the bottom was a manila envelope labeled private. Inside, a photograph, a smiling woman and a young boy. On the back, someone had written Julia and Marcus A. before. Her phone rang. "Hello?" She answered. "You have my suitcase," said a calm, deep voice. "Black roller bag, Carousel 3. "I'm so sorry," Victoria said quickly. "I must have grabbed yours by mistake." "I can turn around right now. I'm still at the airport," he replied. "Gate B7. How soon can you get here?" 20 minutes. "I'll wait." She made a U-turn and sped back, her mind racing. The name Gabriel Thornton sounded familiar. When she arrived, he was sitting alone near Gate B7, her plain suitcase beside him. He stood as she approached, a tall, early 40s, expensive suit, exhaustion in his eyes. "I'm Gabriel," he said, extending his hand. "Victoria Hayes." "I'm so sorry for the trouble." They exchanged bags, but instead of leaving, she blurted, "I saw the photograph. I only looked to make sure I had the right bag." His expression softened, then turned guarded. "My ex-wife and son, that was taken before the divorce." "I'm sorry," she said quietly. He shrugged. "Don't be. I work too much." She wanted more than I could give. It's the old story: a success at work, failure at home. Victorian understood that tone: a detached, factual, emotion carefully hidden. She'd used it herself. "My ex-husband used to joke that I married my calculator instead of him," she admitted. "He wasn't wrong. I spent decades chasing stability, but I forgot to live." For the first time, Gabriel smiled, a small, but real. "You're an accountant?" "Was. I retired last year. Still figuring out what comes next. Turns out I don't know how to just a broken bar exist without a schedule." He checked his watch. "I have 17 minutes before my driver gets here." "Coffee?" They found a corner table at the airport cafe. Copyright. Among the rush of travelers, they talked like people suddenly remembering how to feel. "I've carried that photo for 3 years," Gabriel said, staring into his coffee. "My therapist says it's unhealthy, but I can't let it go. It reminds me what I lost by never being home." Victoria nodded. "My daughter lives in Portland with her wife and 2 kids. I see them maybe twice a year. I tell myself I'll visit more, but I'm scared it's too late, that she's moved on without me." He studied her face. "Have you told her that number?" She looked down. "I'm afraid she'll agree." Gabriel's voice lowered. "I've been waiting for a sign, something to tell me it's not too late to fix things. But maybe I'm too afraid to find out." "What if the sign isn't cosmic?" Victoria said softly. "What if it's just a woman taking the wrong suitcase and forcing you to stop long enough to remember what matters?" He looked at her and something shifted. "I was going to fly home, review reports, and keep pretending my life is full. But maybe I should call my son, really call him, and maybe I should go to Portland," Victoria said, her pulse quickening. "Tell my daughter I want to be a real grandmother." They sat quietly, both realizing how long they'd been waiting for permission to hope. "It might be too late," Gabriel said. "Or maybe not," she replied. "You won't know until you try." His phone buzzed. The driver was waiting, but instead of standing, he pulled out his phone again. "I'm calling him now." Victoria watched him speak, his voice trembling as he said, "I'm sorry. I want to do better. Will you give me another chance?" When he ended the call, his eyes were wet. He said yes. He whispered, "We're having dinner next week." Victoria smiled through her own tears and pulled out her phone. Her message was simple: "Can I visit this weekend? I want to try." The reply came within seconds. "We'd love that. The kids keep asking about you." When Gabriel stood to leave, He handed her a business card. "My personal number. Let me know how it goes, and maybe we can have coffee again." "Not business coffee, real coffee. I'd like that," she said, taking the card. They went their separate ways, but both left lighter than they'd arrived. As Victoria drove to her sister's house, she thought about how a small mistake had led her exactly where she needed to be. And as Gabriel's car pulled away from the airport, he touched the photo in his bag and realized it was time to take a new one, a one that said after. Sometimes life doesn't send thunderbolts or miracles. Sometimes it just swaps your suitcase. Because love and second chances often arrive disguised as accidents. Say two strangers meeting in the quiet between flights, reminding each other that it's never too late to reach out, to forgive, to begin again. The highway lights blurred past as Victoria drove through the quiet evening, her heart lighter than it had been in years. For once, she wasn't rehearsing polite excuses or calculating minutes. She was simply a broken bar feeling. Her phone buzzed again at a red light. A photo from her daughter, Anna. 2 kids, faces sticky with jam, grinning at the camera. "Can't wait to see you, Mom." Victoria smiled, tears stinging her eyes. For so long she'd been the woman who organized fundraisers, balanced everyone's books, and forgot her own life. But something had shifted. It wasn't dramatic, just a quiet courage that whispered, "Start now." Across town, Gabriel sat in the back of the car, staring out the window as rain began to fall. He replayed his son's voice over the phone, hesitant at first, then warm. Marcus was taller now, deeper voiced, almost a man. "Dinner next week," Marcus had said. "Just us. No business calls this time," Gabriel had promised. And for the first time in years, he intended to keep it. At home, he placed the old photograph on his desk. For a moment he considered throwing it away, but instead, he set it beside a clean, empty frame. New memories first, he thought. Then he noticed something in his suitcase pocket, a business card, folded in half. On the back, Victoria's neat handwriting. "For the next coffee, Portland might need 2 cups." He laughed quietly. 3 days later, Victoria stood at Portland's small train station, suitcase in hand, hard hammering. She hadn't been there in 5 years. The last time, she'd left too soon after another awkward visit filled with silences. When Anna spotted her across the platform, the world tilted. The hug was immediate, tight, trembling, wordless. "I missed you," Anna whispered. "I missed you too," Victoria said, her voice cracking, "more than I let myself admit." That night, as her grandkids dragged her into a blanket fort, Victoria realized something simple and beautiful. Redemption doesn't always roar. Sometimes it sounds like children's laughter and forgiveness said without words. Meanwhile, Gabriel sat opposite his son in a small diner. The silence between them was thick but not cold. Marcus poked at his fries, then finally said, "You really showed up." "I told you I would," Gabriel said softly. "Yeah," Marcus smiled faintly. "You didn't, before." They talked for hours, awkwardly, then easily, until the waiter refilled their coffee twice. When Marcus finally stood to leave, he said, "Next time, I'll pick the place." As Gabriel watched him go, a feeling he hadn't recognized in years took root. A piece. Weeks later, an email arrived in Victoria's inbox. Subject: "Coffee, the real kind." It was from Gabriel. "Portland looks nice this time of year. Think I could borrow a suitcase?" She laughed, shaking her head as she typed back, "Only if you promise not to take the wrong one this time." A month after that, they met halfway, a small seaside cafe. Copyright overlooking gray-blue waves. The air smelled like salt and second chances. When Gabriel arrived, he looked different, lighter somehow. "Marcus and I talk every weekend now," he said. "He's thinking of visiting me for Christmas." "That's wonderful," Victoria said. "Anna invited me to stay through the holidays too." They both smiled, realizing how far they'd come since that random mistake at baggage claim. As the wind picked up outside, Gabriel reached across the table. "You know, Victoria, I've been thinking, maybe life doesn't hand us new beginnings, maybe it just gives us people who remind us how to take them." She met his eyes and nodded. "Then I'm glad I grabbed the wrong bag." He grinned. "So am I." Outside, gulls cried over the waves, and for the first time in years, both of them felt like they were exactly where they were supposed to be, not chasing the past, not afraid of the future, just living in the quiet miracle of after.